Outreach, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outreach, and today we're going to be talking about safety programs, what makes a good one, what you should be doing. You're probably thinking, do I even have to worry about a safety program, Bruce? I'm the driver. I know, I get it, but there are some good safety programs out there. There's some bad safety programs out there, and then there are the ones that you create. So let's see which ones we got. Let's get into this little part about what makes a good safety program, some of the things you might want to look for. First of all, things like hazard identification. So are you somebody, first of all, just looking at your truck, looking at the work area where you maybe have to deliver, looking at where you park your truck, where you when you're doing your inspections, are you in a safe spot? Those kind of things, that's all risk assessment. Am I in a safe area? Am I doing my inspection properly so I know it's safe? Am I checking everything? These are the things that are important to a driver. So you need to self-assess. We often think, okay, a safety program means, they're going to monitor how many times I speed, and they're going to monitor how many times I do a hard brake or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. But there's more to a safety program than that, and it actually starts with the driver. And we often say that it starts with the driver. If you don't do your inspection, it doesn't matter how many compliance issues they've got going on. You need to think about this from a driver standpoint and from your safety. What's going to make sure you get home at the end of the day or the end of a couple days, depending on how long you're going out. You know what I mean? So we need to think about that. And that is something that, a lot of drivers think safety program is for the company. It's actually for you. It's not for the company. That's why I'm talking about it here. So risk assessment, what is going on around you? What areas is going to be a problem? You don't chalk the brakes, you don't chalk your wheels, and then you go and check the brakes and the truck rolls over you. Big safety problem. You're checking your truck at the side of a road in a live lane. Big safety program. Big safety problem. Let's see, you don't chalk your wheel and you're unloading at a dock, and then the forklift comes through and pushes your truck away from the dock, and the guy, these are all safety issues that drivers are actually in control of. So it's something that you need to think about. So when you're whatever you're doing, whether you're doing something, in behind the truck, or we had a friend, a driver who was very experienced. He was helping another driver back in who was very experienced, and the driver ran over him and crushed himself. Now, this is the second time I've heard of that. When I was early in my career, there was a driver, his son was opening the back doors of his truck, and his son got pinned between the dock and the truck. So it happens. It happens to when you don't plan on it, when you don't, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, it happens. So you need to make sure you got a decent, so looking at what the hazards are around you. If you're backing somebody out, can they see you in your mirrors the whole time? Or are you behind the trailer where they can't see you and what's going on? Control measures. Once you've decided, hey, you know what, there's a risk here, what are you going to do about it? How can you make sure? Are you just going to make sure that for a company, they got to make sure all of you do your job? But if we're talking from a driver standpoint, what are you doing? Are you making sure that you're doing your inspection properly so you don't break down next time? Are you making sure that you are doing your inspection in a safer place than you did last time if it was getting scariest to being on the side of the road? These are the kind of things from a driver standpoint you need to think about. So you need to have that. You need to evaluate what risks are going on. You need to have some measures in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. And those measures for it not to happen again might include equipment. Hey, you know what? If you want to chalk your wheels and you don't have a chalk, you got a real problem. Right? So making sure that you have chocks for the wheels. That way you can do a proper brake inspection. That way you can know you're safe on the road. That way you won't have problems at the scales. It all goes hand in hand, right? That's what it's all about. And then if you need more training or you're not sure how to do it, go ask somebody. This is the big thing. And asking somebody before you leave the yard. Here's what I used to say to myself. And, I'm self-taught in pretty well everything I did. But back in the day, I used to say, if I don't know how to do something, let's say I don't know how to chain that load the way that is, because I worked for companies that had various loads, and not all the time was I on the steel load or whatever. And I always used to say to myself, I'd rather look stupid in the yard than look stupid in front of the customer. Rather look stupid in the yard than I'd rather look stupid. So I'm going to go and ask another driver, how do I do this? Yes, you may have to, suck up that, I know it all attitude and say, hey, how do I actually do this? Or what tip are you doing to make sure? And make sure you understand it before you get to the customer to find out you're loading it wrong, or you have an infraction of the scale because you didn't know how to chain up, or you do something worse and the steel coil runs over you. Like if you've seen some of the pictures of, you know what it is. So knowing what to do and knowing how to do it is probably the best thing that you can do, and making sure that that's you're safe. You're doing it safe, and that's part of the training. If you need training, ask for it. Trust me, I've never had a company fire you because you need training. like if you go and ask for them and say, hey, you know what, I really feel I need to know how to do this better. If they fire you, take that as a good thing, because most of them will go, no problem. If you're like that, we probably got 10 other guys who need training too. Let's get some training in here. So don't be afraid to go to your supervisor or whatever and say, listen, I know the basics of this, but I don't know if I'm doing it as well as I could be doing it. Could I get some training in this? Trust me, they're going to love you for it. That's one of the big things. And then, of course, you've got to make sure you're monitoring and evaluating it, right? So is it getting better? If you tried something and you're still having problems, what can you be doing different? Maybe you have the wrong type of equipment or the wrong type of technique or anything like that. That's all part of training and evaluating. So you need to monitor it ongoing. You need to make sure that you're trying to do it right every time so that it becomes muscle memory, and down the road you don't have problems. These are the things that drivers need. So training is a safety program is not about the company. It's not about this is the company rules. That's how most drivers think. That is not what's actually going on. To be safe, you need to actually know the training. You need to take it on and be able to do it. So check that out. So here we go with the 4 steps again. So risk, what risks are there? Do an evaluation of the risks. Figure out the control measures. What do you have to do to fix it? Do you have the proper training, and what ongoing training can you get to make sure you're better? And then are you monitoring it and evaluating it as it works? Those are the 4 steps to a good training program. If you can do those 4 steps, you're going to be well on your way to being a safe driver or owner operator. And